Okay, I'd like to call to order the meeting of August 14th, 2024, the Daviess County Council. Welcome. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice.
This morning. Let the record show that we have perfect attendance today on the County Council. First item of business we have is the meeting minutes from 7/10 of 24. They're in your packets. They were sent out electronically also. Any additions, corrections to the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Marilyn,
Second.
second by Tony. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
I abstain.
Darren abstained. He was absent. Okay, the second item of business. I guess it's by state statute that we're supposed to review the tax levy limits and circuit breakers, but we have not received the information yet. It's supposed to be done at our August meeting. So we'll have to push that until our September meeting when the numbers are available. So we won't be able to take any action on it today. Okay, number 3 is the airport project. Erica?
Morning, council.
Morning.
Just giving you guys a heads up, our next project that we're gonna start, hopefully, very early spring of 2025, is we're putting in a new taxi lane, for hangars to be built. We're seeing a demand of people wanting to build their own hangars, businesses, and private individuals. We're also gonna put in a new access road to it. None of the funds will need to come from the county. The airport will have to put up its 5% for a usual grant match. That'll come out of our grant fund that we have built in. But other than that, none of the funds will come from the county. It's all gonna come from grants, both state and federal. We are also looking at purchasing the hangar that the economic development built with the grant funds as well. So it'll be a 2-part project, actually 3-part, I guess, if you include the access road, the taxi lane, and the new hangar. So we're seeing a growth. We just wanted to give you guys a heads up. That way nobody's blindsided when somebody said, oh, what's the airport doing now? Yeah.
Erica, how big of a project are you looking at for this run back to the way and all that stuff?
500,000 for the taxi lane and the access road, and then purchasing the building would be, and this is coming from my engineer Nick, we can budget about 350 to 400 depending on how much. Obviously, if they need to sell it for more, we would bow out or try to negotiate, but we told them we'd like first opportunity at the price, so that they come up with. But with that, we can generate some more revenue through rent, and then opening the new taxi lane. Like I said, we have 2 or 3 that are highly interested. A drone company wants to come in. We've had a lot of people ask if they would allow house hangars. The board's not really certain about that, but yeah. And then 2 other businesses have expressed interest in building hangars that would house all their airplanes, so.
I think we do need to get some kind of, like maybe the board has it, some kind of standard that we don't have a bunch of shacks out there.
We do. So there'll be a minimum size that they have to build. White siding, white roof. We want it to all look uniformed and nice, not choppy. And I don't want somebody with just one single aircraft building, you know, just a 30 by 30, and we get stuck with something that's not business efficient. So, yeah, there will be minimums. And so far, everybody seems to comply. Now, they would be able to lease those spots. If a private individual builds a 60 by 70 and they only need a smaller spot, we would allow them to sublease because technically they do own the hangar. They would just give us a land lease for it, so.
Is there a map out of where the hangars are gonna be? I mean, you guys have it.
Yeah, on the sheet I gave you,
I see a big circle there.
Well, okay, so that's not it. This pink line that runs
Okay, yeah.
east and west, on both sides of those.
Okay,
And then I can probably provide, Nick had that layout.
Yeah.
Kind of showed future.
Yeah.
I would show him a good example.
Yeah, and that's, I need to collaborate all those maps somehow.
Yeah.
Nick has a better system than I do, but our picture is, go both north and south on this taxi lane for building. Once we fill that up, we'll take out more farm ground and start another taxi lane to the north and just keep going. The idea is to build to the north,
okay.
so. But no, jet traffic's been up.
Right there.
Yeah, we're,
Right here?
The one that says from-
Oh, right there, okay. Gotcha.
No, Erica and her team are doing a wonderful job, and it looks really nice, and it's manicured, and
I have to give a huge shout out to my grounds crew on that. They stay on top of it.
my cameras go off all the time because the lawnmower's going by every day.
So, but yeah, we wanted to give you a heads up that that's coming. Like I said, I really hope we are breaking ground, no later than February for this. Good.
Erica, could you, while you're up there?
Yeah.
Could you just address the request you have for the ordinance
Appropriation.
amendment?
Yeah, so, when I submitted the budget, last
September.
June, September, I was only on the job for 4 months at the most. Owen, right now I have Owen as, he's a year-round part-time, and he's been a huge asset to the facility, helping keep things manicured with Terry. The jet traffic that we have coming in, Owen is huge. He's very knowledgeable about it. I want to keep him as a year-round full-time, and that's why I'm pulling funds out of my professional services to fund his salary. Right now, the salary only stands for one part-time person and one seasonal. I need that seasonal to be a year-round as well. So I've adjusted my budget for 2025 to reflect that. But to get me by for 2024, I'm asking to pull some funds out of professional services and keep his salary going. It takes 2 people anymore to move these big planes that are coming in. We've had some monsters land recently, and it's been really cool to see. So definitely takes 2 people, and they can help with that if I'm called away to the office or what have you. So
Oh, yeah, add the job or just reclassifying a job? What are you?
I'm reclassifying. I'm not adding any more staff,
Okay.
just adding hours to his.
I got you.
And I hope I worded that right in 2025. I took out seasonal and I just had 2 part-time. So,
Just to clarify, it's 2 part-time positions, and instead of it just being like for the summer or fall or whatever,
Yeah,
it's throughout the whole calendar year, so
Yeah.
it's not moving a part-time to a full-time position.
Okay,
yeah.
understand.
So, and then I hope I did the taxes right. I adjusted for Social Security as well. So, to reflect that. So there'll be 2, I submitted 2 appropriations, one for his salary and then one to adjust the Social Security. So,
Yep, I see that on there.
yeah.
All right, any questions for Erica?
I'll have a motion to approve.
Motion by Matt to approve for the, is there a second then?
Mike?
Mike Sprinkle on the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Same sign?
Thank you all.
Carried.
Thank you.
Matt, I'm guessing that approval was for the
Well, there's.
salary ordinance part?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The 2 appropriation changes.
Okay. Form 144.
The 144 is just by statute, we're supposed to provide those to you. That is a summary of all the salaries that have been turned into us before budgets. So that is just in your packet, just for your review prior to. So if there's any questions, you can reach out to us.
No action needed on that, though.
Just to, I don't think so, it's just
Commissioners
information.
take
Yeah.
action on it. Any questions, comments? Okay, salary ordinance amendments from the general fund. I think we have from the general fund, 1,000 registration of voters.
And so that was for the registration of voters pieces. That was all approved of the additional last month. However, the salary ordinance amendment was not caught, so we are just asking for the salary, be put on the salary ordinance for us to be able to make payment in payroll.
Total of $9,100? Or are you talking about the general fund for the clerk too?
Both of those.
Both of those.
It's all, yeah.
We got 11,300 on the salary ordinance amendment for the registration of voters in the clerk's office. Questions, concerns? Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Tony,
Second.
second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Same sign. Carried, 7-0. Okay, Local Emergency Planning Committee. Scott?
This is the same as we done last year. We need to transfer money out of our contractor services and put it into wage line items so that we can pay the salary for our contractor. I believe that'll be adjusted in next year's budget, so it won't have to do this again.
Any questions for Scott?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mike,
I will second.
second by Matt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Same sign. Carried, 7-0.
Thank you.
So that was just a budgeting problem we had with that?
It's just a change of how we used to pay for it out of one line item.
It used to be a contracted service, but now with his part-time help, they are able to take over this process. So now, because it's an employee, we just have to move it to a wage line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Education fund, we took care of that already, right? Community corrections. Come on up. Good morning.
Morning.
Trying to use up some grant money, it looks like.
Yes, that's
All right, tell us about it.
basically all it is. So I'm just moving funds out of same series, 100 series. I didn't have to get that approved by the DOC, but since it falls under the salary ordinance of the part-time supervisors, their pay per hour isn't changing. We're just putting more money in that line item, so I just have to get that approved. So we're just trying to spend down before the end of the year. So just trying to move funds around and use up as much as we can, so it doesn't come out of our next year's budget.
Any questions?
Move to approve?
Sorry. Mike,
I'll second.
moved by Mike, second by Marilyn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Shooting for the record here.
I think I have that.
Okay, West Boggs. Nathan, you want to talk to the group? I heard you yesterday, so I hope you do get the same story.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for your time. I'm here to speak with you about adding another manager at West Boggs. We would call this person the assistant superintendent, but they would wear many hats, as I do. Did you all get the email that I sent with the job description? I do have an extra if anyone needs it. That kind of gives an idea of what that person's going to do, but it is important. It's something that was kind of given to me from both the park board and Jameson, my predecessor, when I hired on. They kind of explained that that would be the best structure for the park, and I would certainly be inclined to agree. We're often expected to represent the park in a couple times at once. So I'm on the Daviess County Tourism Board, as Marilyn knows. That is simultaneous with the Road Steering Committee in Martin County. So those are the exact same time. I'm also supposed to do water samples and treatment every Monday morning to send in like the E. coli sample. Simultaneous with that, Crane was putting in a park at Westgate. I was supposed to sit on that as well. So I was often unable to attend those meetings. So there's a couple examples of many. In addition to that, our structure is about 40 staff members, and then we have over 15 contractors. Those are going at 2 parks at one time, so we have Glendale and West Boggs. We have 1 gate manager. This person would help manage the gate while that gate manager is gone, and then also be able to help move back and forth from Glendale to Boggs. It's very difficult for us to move. You know, if something's going on, we have a meeting, something's going on at Glendale, it's very hard for us to get there. So that would be helpful as well. In addition to that, we're doing a lot of new things with the lake. So I know my personal role has changed. The board's asked me to work on the lake, and I do believe that that is worthwhile. We're about third the cell counts as we were last year. I don't think we're going to have to close the lake this year, which I think is the first time in quite some time. And honestly, a lot of that was community response. So I think we've had hundreds of acres of cover crops, and people have covered manure piles, and there's a lot of community engagement there. In addition to the enzyme treatment that I'm doing, I think is really helping. I don't want to say it's like Tahoe or clean or anything like that. We have a long way to go, but it's still 2/3 better. So that's pretty exciting. Another thing would be HR. We do have to onboard 30-some people in the spring. It's very difficult for us to accurately, interview everybody that comes in, puts in an application, and get back with those that we don't choose in a timely manner. So that would be an important aspect of the job, as well as just helping with HR duties for our 50 staff members. I know I listed all the duties out, so I don't know if I want to read all those off if you don't want me to, but is there any questions you guys have or anything?
Is this like an internal promotion for somebody, or is this somebody we're gonna go out and look for?
I'll probably interview a couple internal people, but ideally, or probably will, take someone from outside and interview as well. But we do have some internal candidates that are good as well. The board presented me with a good candidate that we would have interviewed, but she just took a job. So the urgency is still there. We have 2 large things that I want to get done this winter. They chose a system called Firefly for a reservation system right before I started. There's some problems with that, really many. But for one, it was $3.50 per reservation per month. They allowed 2 years of reservations when I first started, so we would actually pay people to camp. So I stopped that pretty quickly, and then, there's a number of issues like that that are with that system. In addition to that, it's no secret that our office manager has been with us a long time. She's kind of hinted at retiring here soon. There's some issues, I guess, with our accounting system as well. Not that it's wrong, but it's a system that only she can use. She built it. There's not really allowance for 2 people to get in there at one time. That's another large project that needs to be tackled this winter. Kind of with what we got going on, just with 6 staff members, we're just not really able to do that. I think it'd be very difficult for us to tackle those problems, plus keep going what we're doing. I think that additional member's needed.
I read in your minutes, I think it was in June minutes, something about hiring and having people waiting. Is it, what? Have you got a hiring system or a program?
I'm not sure what you mean. I think a number of months ago we were having slowdown from the county process. You guys had switched your hiring process, so it took a while to get people onboarded, sometimes 3 weeks or so, and then a lot of them were quitting during that time. So we would hire them, interview them, give them the job, and then it took too long, and then they would fall off. There were some issues with like uploading the I-9 and some computer issues with that. So that was probably what you're referring to.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
I think Jen could attest to that. It seems to have been rectified or.
Yeah, because I was just concerned, because they said you lost some, your minutes in the Clyde.
Yeah,
that
we
you
had lost
some people due to the wait.
Probably 15. I bet 10, 15 people weren't willing to wait. Something like that, quite a few.
So our onboarding process had turned digital, and our software that we were using kicked off a new process with a new company. It was not aware to us of some of the issues that were going on. Someone did reach out to me finally from the board, and once it became apparent, I stressed highly that those people could even come over. We could try to help come out and accommodate. Some of the issues that has come to light was we got Dale involved with IT. Some of it was because they were using cell phones. If they use a desktop computer, things were more compatible. I think most of the bugs have been resolved at this point. We're not aware of any, but we have always been open to paperwork, and them coming in personally. But some of this, but there was also issues with information given to us with emails, because it all starts with emails, information coming over from the board was also incorrect, so things weren't getting back to them, and it was a communication breakdown a little bit on both sides in that aspect, but it has been, to my understanding, resolved at this point.
I just hated to see that you were losing people before you ever got them on board.
Yeah, it's quite difficult for us.
How's the gate fees and stuff like that? Are you able to maintain those, or are we going up?
I haven't raised them at all, especially boats. I think are almost too high. I remember coming out there in high school and it was like $15 to launch my boat, and I was like, I'm not doing this again, and I didn't until I took the job. So some of those I would love to decrease, especially for the county residents eventually. But right now we're at that $7 gate fee, and a couple bucks gets shaved off for lake enhancement out of that. And I think we're sitting pretty good with that. Camping's on a slight downturn, I would say. Just nationally, you know, it's easier to buy a camper now. They're more for sale. People are traveling, getting on airplanes again after COVID. So I think we kind of are starting to see that bell curve a little bit. I do believe we're getting ahead of that, though. That stage we build is beautiful. I think that's going to be a magnificent tool for the community. You know, concerts and things are going to bring in people from outside. So if we get folks from Indy coming in and so forth, they're going to be like, oh, it's a nice park. We'll just come back and camp. In addition to that, I'm trying to get internet hooked up. I think that'll help for our Monday bookings. I think folks might enjoy camping there over the weekend. You know, that maybe they can work online on Monday. They'll buy the internet package and then stay another night. In addition to that, I think there's a lot of efficiency that we can improve on. And I think this person will help that too. I think it's pretty easy to pay your own salary there with grants and redoing contracts and making things more efficient. So I've done a lot of that too. We've redone most contracts, I would say, with the park. So mowing, cleaning, all that kind of stuff.
And I think it's important to note that these are non-taxpayer funds that we're talking about. They're generated from users of the facility there, and that the position was approved yesterday at the commissioners meeting also. So,
as well as our park board a couple months ago.
And the park board, yeah. I would entertain a motion to approve the request for $27,692 for assistant superintendent. Guess that's the funding for the rest of the year? Or?
It would be, yeah. And again, I'm not interviewing yet or anything, so it'll
Okay.
be less than that, I'm sure.
We'll move.
Moved by Tony,
Second.
second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Carried 7-0. Thank you, Nathan.
Appreciate it.
Okay, boater safety grant. Sheriff or Steve? Thank you, Chief Deputy. What do you have for us?
Absolutely.
Matt,
I didn't realize this was on the agenda for today, so what questions do you have, or?
This is just for the approval for us to pay it out for the salary ordinance amendment today.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions about
So,
the boater safety?
the
So it's a
boater-
grant you applied for?
Correct. This is a grant we've got for several years now. I believe we got 10,000 this year, and I hate to sound unprepared. I'm not sure what you have in front of you, but usually we divvy it up into wages and Social Security and repair and maintenance.
Now, why don't you just tell us what you used the grant for?
Yeah, just to patrol West Boggs Lake, and it's an off-duty detail. The guys do it on the weekends and holidays.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Moved by Mike, second?
Second.
Second by Mike Myers, okay. First and second, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Carried 7-0. Thank you, sorry to put you on the spot.
Okay. Tom, we need to do,
I missed something?
yeah, very first one.
I was still under,
We did have to do that? We have to go through that, both bring them at the bottom. We'll hit
I was
the
still
slide.
doing salary
Alright,
minutes,
okay.
wasn't I? Okay.
Then we'll go to the bottom.
And with the next one, with the immunization grant dollars, this was already approved. Again, it's just a salary ordinance amendment.
Oh, I didn't actually even see that one on there.
This is,
Yours is different.
Okay.
this is what Kelly presented last month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So again, this was, the additional was done at last meeting, but the salary ordinance, for us to be able to pay it, it's just for us to put it on there.
Gotcha, okay. I don't think we need discussion.
Okay, Kelly.
Counselors, it is what I came before last month, but I do want to report some really good news. We have seen a raise in vaccination rates in the Amish community that we've never seen before. So it's been overwhelming. Excellent. This is what that was for, was a grant for immunization nurse for that intended purpose. I guess it wasn't on the salary ordinance last time. Okay. But I should have another one.
What kind of immunizations are we giving primarily?
Well, I wish I had the nurse here. So there's a whole range of vaccines for children. They're for children.
Okay, mostly children.
All children, unless it's a tetanus situation. Yeah. For school.
Okay.
For school.
Speaking of vaccines, do you have any idea yet when the new updated COVID shots go out this fall?
Do not.
Okay.
I'll make sure you know when we do. And the flu.
Yeah.
We plan to hold several community clinics for vaccine.
Awesome.
Has there been a date set yet for the county employee health fair?
I'm aware of.
Okay, I hadn't seen it yet, so I didn't know. I know that's usually where I get at least one of those.
Okay, any other discussion? I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Matt. Second by Mike Sprinkle. This is the $50,000 for the immunization grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Carried, 7-0.
Yeah, do we want to do the health fund?
Yep, while you're up there, go ahead.
I have a request before you for funds to be appropriated that we've receipted in for our immigration clinic. These are fees, user fees per se, that are provided by the patient to pay for the service. 300 of those dollars go to the provider for the service, and I need those appropriated to pay Dr. Holzhoff. Happy to answer any questions because this is a new service. And I will be coming back next month. After meeting with the auditor, we have one monthly clinic, and she prefers that we go ahead and advertise for the rest of the year needs to pay the physician, as opposed to me coming monthly to appropriate our receipts. We can estimate pretty close how many we're going to anticipate. So I'll be back next month asking for the rest of the year, as opposed to, as I mentioned, it's easier.
And what's the nature of these?
We have found in the past several years that I think we're aware we have many immigrants in our community, not just what we think. Let me clarify. So for those individuals that seek to go through the federal process of immigration, they are required to do a very thorough medical examination, as well as several vaccines and many other requirements that require what is called a civil surgeon to go through the process for the federal government. Dr. Holzapfel has that designation, and we have started to hold monthly clinics to make sure these individuals have everything that they are required to have to migrate here. And I just want to, for the list, we've seen individuals from Cuba, Mexico, Guatemala, Jamaica, Haiti, Canada, Colombia, Belize, Guyana, Philippines, Trinidad, Tobago, and recently Russia. So it's very interesting what's occurring, but this is a process that we believe is necessary to make sure they are here safely as well as legally.
So if we didn't provide that service, the next closest place would be?
Used to be Jasper, they
Oh,
retired.
Jasper could do it?
Not anymore. Evansville,
Okay.
and that physician is seeing less and less. So really, Indianapolis, and we need
That's
this
something we
service.
really need to do then.
We
yeah.
need this service, so people don't fall through the cracks.
So are these folks coming in from outside the county then to get?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. It's about 75-25. Depending upon, we have an agreement with some other counties that are donuts to us, to provide the service.
But they're paying a fee.
Correct.
Okay.
This is all paid for by the user fees.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Tony,
Second.
second by Marilyn. There, we're talking the amount of, $9,100 for the health fund, 1159. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign? Okay, approved 7-0. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. Anything else, please?
I don't think so.
Don't think so. You gonna talk?
Hmm?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go back.
Okay, now we have the, item 6 under additional appropriations. Ready to move there? We have, county general insurance for buildings, personal property and liability. That's a, request to cover 2 weeks of builder's risk for the courthouse renovation, and I think also the insurance on the new salt building at the county highway department. And, that request is for $19,500. Any discussion on that? What questions, comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve that.
Make a motion to approve?
Moved by Matt. Second? Second by Mike Sprinkle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Carried 7-0. The West Bogs Fund, we need to do that again?
Yeah, appropriate.
Okay, motion for the appropriation for the West Bogs Fund that Nathan explained to us.
So moved.
Moved by Matt. Second by Marilyn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Carried. Health Fund we just did. Convention and Tourism Fund. This is for moving the 1.5%, from
2023,
2023 into 20,
moving it over into designated account.
for the eventual building of a,
It's just to transfer funds from one account to another.
okay,
Yeah, one bucket to another.
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Yes.
So moved.
Moved by Tony, second by
Second.
Mike Myers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Carried 7-0. And then, motor vehicle highway fund, 1176, equipment repair of $20,000 request and $20,000 for tires, total $40,000.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mike Sprinkle, second by Matt Meredith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. That takes care of those. Item 7, transfers. Transferring, first one we have on there is the Aviation Fund 1107, Professional Services to Social Security, which Erica just updated us on. Entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Moved by Matt, second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried 7-0. Reassessment Fund. Funds needed to cover remaining payroll, Social Security, Medicare tax, submitted by Crystal, $4,135.
And that was just due to an error that she did not calculate the social security stuff, and it wasn't caught by our office for the part-time and the other stuff in her office. It was only based off the main salary. So we've caught that ahead of time, so we're just asking for that to be transferred inside of her categories. It's just out of the category transfer for the approval.
Removing from repair and computer program to Social Security Medicare.
budgeting time, so many of these additional appropriations, everybody's on board to get it corrected going into next year for the budget.
We have been trying to be diligent, yes. This is just transfers. So like, in different situations have different reasons behind it, but this one here was only didn't catch part-time people that she's got contracted.
So moved.
Moved by Tony, second by Marilyn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Carried 7-0. The next request for transfer is from Judge Murray. He's here. Judge, please come up. This is one we tabled from our last meeting because the judge wasn't able to be here.
I think Deputy Sturgis played you guys. I also don't know what this is all about. I've never seen you approve something so fast. Never, pained not knowing that was on the, no. I like that approach. So this is,
He's packing a gun.
yes. This is another attempt to readjust my budget. Like I said, I inherited a lot of this. I'm not complaining about it, but there's some commitments that I made to make people either more comfortable or more productive or both. So I'm asking for this transfer from the Pettiger Fund to the office equipment. $1,000.
Specifically, what are we getting? Because we just did, I thought we just did one just like 2 months ago,
Probably did one or 4 months ago.
maybe 3 months. It
I
could be.
agree. Different, different approach. Most of this stuff that
Or is this like computers or something like that? I think that was a clarification, was we don't know what that is.
a lot more laptops, a lot more just
Okay.
office related.
I mean, do you,
There's some accommodation just because of our facility, which by the way, if you ever walk through the new courthouse, looking terrific. So what you've done. Very logically laid out when you finally like start seeing the walls go up, and I can't wait for them to put the drywall up. And a lot of this is just learning curve for me. You know, this is 6 months in, like that. And I'm happy to address it. I try to keep it within my global budget. Say that I had a jury trial last week. Those aren't cheap. I'm in, you know, when I was prosecutor, I was kind of in control of that a little bit more. Now I'm more of a receptive vessel. Like if somebody wants a trial, we'll give it to them. I'm doing some things creatively to try to cut back on that. Hopefully designing a way to call fewer jurors in. Not really ready to get into all that. But we're trying to run as lean as possible, close more cases than we open. If you want to come see the operation, feel free. Going much faster. Like yesterday we did 2 or 3, at least one plea that was 60 days old. And that never happened.
So Judge, just to clarify, as of yesterday, for the next meeting, you have asked for an additional appropriation for your pettit jurors for $25,000, so that will be coming. So you're transferring out of that.
This one now, that is projecting 5 jury trials. Yep. I had a meeting with Ms. Brown yesterday, and I think our last jury trial cost $5,000. And there are, I think, 4 or 5 on the calendar. I was like, are these really going to happen? And never predict that with absolute certainty, but yeah. So there's a few things going on there. One is the backlog of cases that are finally getting to a point where they have to be resolved. 2 is there's kind of an attitude change over there. Realize things are going to be. And 3 is a a lot of these are cases where I was a prosecutor still, so I can't be the judge. And that's putting a pinch on the whole system where we are relying upon the good graces of other judges to come in and cover for us. So,
I just want to make sure that if we're taking 2,000 out, it hadn't happened yet, if your additional was going to be correct. We just might want to double check if you're taking 2,000 out of this line and you're
my
asking.
goal is to
try make
cut
sure
that
it's gonna-
other additional down by the time we have that meeting. I just don't know that yet.
Any questions for Judge Murray?
I don't have a question, but just for my sake, like, I don't know what we're paying for, and I'm still not sure what we're paying for. You know what I'm saying? It's vague.
So
I think you need
we're
it.
setting up, I'll just give you a first.
Yeah.
We're setting up work from home, which was never a process before.
Sure.
I mean, that's a new concept that I found efficiencies.
You know, your processes, I think you're gonna be master of those, Dan, you're the expert. I think all I'm looking for is that printer cost $250, that laptop was this much, you know what I mean? I think what you're doing is probably the right thing to do. I'm looking at the cost.
So 1,000 of this, just for instance, I have all kinds of, we spent $5,810 on 5 laptops to get court reporters where they could work from home. 1,000 of this is for a printer for the court reporters. These are just like,
This is ancillary to what you've already spent, just to make the process.
that's
whole.
right. And these are, look, it's always the worst time, because I feel terrible about this too, because I know the building projects here. The laptops, for instance, are a 2 or 3 year at minimum lifetime turnaround. So a lot of this I will take on as just doing things my way, and that's not the old way. That is technology heavy, front end heavy. I hope it's back end light. So I've expressed a desire to reduce my cost in other areas. I'd love to give you that. I can't do that yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to show a leaner system by investing on front end processes, and that's all. So, like, $2,000. My goal is to show a $20,000 savings in the other account that I don't feel comfortable with that. When it's finally my process, when I'm done paying for the process that was in place before me, if I take a year, I want to be able to say, hey, look, remember when I said there's going to be a savings? This is what I'm talking about. So I'm very conscious of the overall prospect. Very careful before I spend taxpayer money. It's just one of those things where it's like, here's the deal. My request here is designed to save money on back-end process. You start calculating even, what is it, $35 a day for a person to be in jail? Correct. So, for a lot of these people, we're reducing their stay from years to days, and that alone is that's never going to show up on my sheet. I'm not going to be able to say, this laptop that you got for Andrea saved, 100 days of jail time. But over time, I hope you start.
I would move to approve the transfer.
Moved by Mike Sprinkle, second by? Second by Tony. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
Carried 7-0. Thank you, Judge Murray.
Thanks, Judge.
Okay, other information in your packets. We have Daviess Martin Joint Park minutes. We have the Daviess County Aviation minutes, manager's report, financial report, Daviess County Community Hospital
Coming out of the software differently.
Finance Committee. I did attend the commissioners meeting yesterday. I can give you guys a brief update. Sorry, guys and gals, a brief update on that. The courthouse renovation project, the original doors are gonna need to be replaced. They could not get the hardware to work with the new hardware to work with the original doors, so there's been a change order submitted on that. On the good news side, the roof, they've only found one crack. I think he said I thought he said they were 3/4 of the way done with that, but that might have been in a different conversation. But anyhow, one crack and it wasn't significant, so we're doing optimistic there on the roof. County Highways applied for a couple grants, two main projects. One is Edwardsport Road out to County Road 600, includes the feed mill truck haul road out there, and also the Beer Can Alley roundabout. Beer Can Alley's like on the west side of Washington there, going out. It's the road that we kind of inherited from the state, I think, that now we're responsible. There's also a bridge on that road that needs work. Let's see. Oh, one thing that was brought up was the powerhouse and 4-H building replacement by Commissioner Arnold. The 4-H building, that's moving forward. I think they're gonna be destructing the existing building up there this week, I think, starting on that, and they're gonna replace that. They have the funds in place to do that. It was the exhibition hall, the block building up there, that's gonna be replaced. And that fundraiser's been going on for about 2 years. I think they just couldn't get it, contractors in place to get it done for this fair season. They decided to wait till after the 4-H fair. It appears that way. So Louise, is that accurate? Or, sorry, Cindy? Okay. We'll have it for next year though, right? Okay. Okay, very good. Yeah, looks great too, the paving. Fantastic. Okay. The other project was the powerhouse. Just to update the council members, or refresh your memories, the powerhouse was discussed at the commissioners meeting. The plans were brought in there, showed to us, project explained to us. Nothing ever took place because we were trying to get the funding through the HELP grant, which was where we put up $2 million, and the HELP part of the state funding was they were going to put $1 million in. I think that was right, two. We put two, and they put one. And the project fell through. The funding for that fell through for us because the projects that we put a preference on, which was the powerhouse and the commons, were not community need that was perceived by the committees that worked on it. So any rate, no funding for the powerhouse was approved. So yesterday it was discussed in the meeting, and I updated them on that quickly. And so I don't know where it's gonna go from here, if the commissioners have $250,000, if they're gonna put a additional move in to support that or not. I don't know, but it was discussed yesterday. Any questions or comments on those? It was actually pretty
From their
short.
existing budget?
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't take any action. It was just a question by Ron Arnold. But I was familiar with it because I was on the HELP committee. That's the only reason I knew my part. Darren?
Just a question on, I believe is it the commissary fund? Yeah, so is that gonna come next month then, probably?
I think I think the state's probably gonna put out a recommendation on that. There's been some issues with that.
But, yeah, that was what I was hoping, that
The
we would
sheriff's
get some
been-
guidance on that.
The sheriff's been in touch with the auditor's office, and we have done some preliminary discussions on it, but I think we'll wait and see what kind of position the state takes and if they have recommendations on it. That's one of the few funds that we really don't have any oversight on from a,
You have oversight from an ordinance need to be put in place. So, I'll be in more touch with Gary as that stuff comes down the pipe, but we look to try to get some extra guidance from the state before we make an action on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like West Boggs Fund. It's not tax dollars. So,
But we're still accountable for it in that.
I present it to you twice a year, and there's certain things that I can spend that money on, and there's certain things that can spend it on, but you got to get council approval. Like with the radio project, you guys all passed you passed a motion that I could use that money for that. This just lays out between you and I, which I thought Harpstride had done it, and he's just working off of his, but apparently he hadn't. But we'll work all that out. There's some sheriffs that take leeway with that. I never have. And I won't, because that's not what it's about. You know, we end every meeting with, don't screw up your commissary, and like someone does it every year. But that's not gonna be me, and that more than likely won't be the next guy either, so.
one thing for sure, it's a hot button for the state right now. They audit that when
Because
they
of
come
a
in.
few
There's been some
bad
problems.
actors. There's 2 extremely bad actors and just a few that took some liberties they probably shouldn't have taken with it.
And just for the record, State Board did audit the commissary fund this year while they were here in audit, and everything checked out okay. So I don't
I've
foresee
never had a problem.
I don't foresee any rush in this process, and to just clean it up and more update the process.
Right.
My suggestion would be wait till we get some more direction from state, just to help for guidance.
Yeah, every year they throw something in at the State House, and we spend more of our time dealing with those issues because of just a few bad actors.
Had it not been for that particular one bad actor, we wouldn't be discussing this now.
Which one?
One's our neighbor, yeah.
Clark, that guy, he was a trooper, and he was stealing them blind when he was a trooper. I don't understand it. He was stealing from the ambulance service and the fire department and the Republican Party, and any place he put his finger, he was taking money out of. And when he became sheriff, it accelerated that quite a bit. So, and then the other bad actor would have been Clinton County, and he appointed his wife as an LLC and paid her out of commissary, which you can do. You have to have council approval, and you can't do what they done. Look good, it didn't look neat. It's very dirty, and they actually got criminal charges over it. So the Du Bois County thing. All that would have been approved. Had his council approved the fund expenditure, it would have been okay. So, just didn't get council approval.
But if you're gonna come to take your wife to Dubai, I don't know that we would approve that, Sheriff.
I have no interest in going to Dubai. Every time I've taken Amber with me somewhere, I pay her out of my pocket, right? I don't put her on the county taxpayer, so. As a matter of fact, the last one we went to, she didn't even go to any of the classes, so I didn't even pay for her to go.
Can you just elaborate for us, how is the money generated? So you got a commissary fund, where's the dollars?
That money is generated, and that's the money's generated from the inmates, okay? So they buy commissary. Our commissary is priced like if you walked into Chuckles and you buy a candy bar and it's $1, going to be $1 there, but our commissary vendor has a finger in there, and we got a finger in there, so we may get like 20% of the dollar. And then phone calls, and we do let them have text messaging and emails, and they've got iPads where they can rent movies, and we get a certain percentage of that. Now, they just passed the feds just passed some regulations where they're going to try to cut some of that money that's done on phone calls, so that will adversely affect that fund. when I took it over, had 10,000, now I think it's got 150,000, so I'm doing good with it. I could do a lot better if we put nicotine products in the jail. It would double.
If you put what in?
Nicotine products.
Oh, yeah.
We looked at it. They make these little Zen pouches, but what the inmates do is they cut them open, shove them into locks, and then they snort the powder and get nasal infections that you got to pay for. So it's not something that I want to put. I don't know. I was close to doing it just so we could generate some more revenue in there, but I was like, yeah, that's not. Spend more on medical. And then they got the e-cig, but they bust those open and start fires with the batteries. To me, it's just, we've always been tobacco-free since they opened that facility. I see no reason to change that.
I agree.
Just to put more money in our pocket. If they ever come out with a product that was not tamperable, which they won't, because you can't do that with inmates. They got more time than anything. But, yeah, so that's where that money's generated from. So it's not.
So you got how much then as a balance then?
It's like 144,000.
144, 150, yeah.
So, I mean, that's a substantial balance. I mean, and I think you use it, what do you use it for then?
Well, I pay my cell phone bills out of that. Pay for all my car tracking, car modems. We buy several things for the jail out of it. So things along that line. I use the training fund out of my budget to pay for the classes, and then I can use my commissary to pay for the room and board. So if I can't use it for that, then I'll take it, go back to the taxpayer and get it, right?
Yeah, no, and those sound great. I
Yeah.
guess the only thing I would say is if we've got that high of a balance, is there some more things that you could use it for?
Well, I have a project in mind that I would like to use it for. I don't know if I'll get it done or not, but we need a mobile command center, right? We have one that's a FEMA trailer from Hurricane Katrina. It sits down at County Highway. It's in pretty bad, rough shape. There's better ways of, it's a camper, so you gotta hook up to it and tow it wherever. I'd like to get a van where we could put a generator, put some cameras on the outside, and some place where the guys can get warm or cold, whichever the season, like at the fairs and different things where we've taken that mobile command center before. And it would also be like a SWAT unit, things along that. We got that big old bus that we don't use very often, so I was going to look at trading that, but yeah. I replaced a four-wheeler out of it. I'm not a four-wheeler, but a Rhino, one that was 10, 12 years old. Was starting to need a lot of repairs, so I traded it and bought a new one. Didn't use taxpayer money for that. And we do need off-road capabilities with Rangers and four-wheelers. But if you ever have a question, you all got my number. Two of you still haven't walked through my building yet. You and her. You went to dispatch, you haven't been through the whole thing.
Yeah, I've been through the whole thing.
Yeah, come do the whole thing. So.
Not getting your hand held, you didn't. He can show
Tom
you
did it, Tom did it. I let him go. I didn't keep Tom. He walked right out the door. We didn't lose him anywhere.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Anything else?
So, but we do have an existing ordinance, but it's like 1989 or something? Okay.
And the Sheriff's Association is saying update was.
Protect yourself, I think, and protect the county. That's,
And get guidance before you believe.
I believe they are. I talked to Jen yesterday on it. We'll take some action before the end of the year anyway.
Another fight in the state house.
Yeah. I do want to recognize Scott and Chief Deputy Steve. We're still working on the radio thing. I think Steve's going to have a report for us next month with some good news, hopefully. Well, it's better news anyhow. But we did, Madison Township was left out of for several different reasons. There was a communication problem. Yeah, there was some communication problems and they were omitted. Their numbers were omitted, but they did turn in originally a long time ago when the project started. At any rate, we got that resolved yesterday, and Steve will be updating us on that next month. A couple other things I have. Coming up, we're gonna have our next regular meetings on 9/11. We're gonna follow that, stay here, and we're budget hearings on the 11th and 12th, okay? So short meeting, first thing, and then we'll go into budget hearings after that, and Jen's gonna get the schedule for us. The next scheduled date after that is 9/18. That's gonna be our work session, where we go line by line items. And then our next meeting, regular meeting, is on 10, will be on 10/2, and we'll do the adoption on that, our regular meeting and the budget adoption. Okay?
On 10-2,
10/2, yep.
both the regular and the adoption.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Mm-hmm. Bless
So,
you.
and we'll be in here for the big meetings.
I think we're gonna do it on a second, because we have to have the approval by then.
Gotcha.
So I think
So
it'll
that's-
replace the meeting on the 9th.
Gotcha.
Questions? Any comments, input from the public? Grant?
Talk briefly.
In packets. So just over the last 3 weeks, there's been quite a bit of action relative to Westgate. Just want to give you all an update. Some of you are very clued in, some of you maybe less so. So yesterday, the Economic Development met and discussed the infrastructure project and just the general option. So if you recall, we're mainly talking about property that's held south of 558. The developer exercised its option at the end of June and has approximately 90 days to close that transaction. This morning, there was a contingent approval subject to certain conditions that the RDC has asked to have accomplished before closing would happen. So quite a bit of acreage, over 200 acres, and then there's question is how much is usable, how much is not usable. But it could be quite the incoming amount for the redevelopment commission, at which time you all will be involved on what happens with that money. So that's a very good thing. We learned yesterday too that for infrastructure so there's a significant project a lot of you have probably heard about, approximately $35 million that's needed on the infrastructure project up there. And as of yesterday, in the funding stack, there's approximately $29.5 million that they believe that they've got. Some amounts have come in higher, some less or not at all, but that's where we're currently at, which is good. I believe that's everything for now. Anything else, Matt, or Tony?
Just getting closer to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna know here in the next 2-3 months exactly how these things look. Thanks, guys. Oh, yeah.
You did say the proposed land sale is all south of 558?
Correct.
Right now?
Correct.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I heard that right.
The land that's essentially was in the 2011 bond issuance. It's 207 acres. And part of it is owned by Economic Development, but the bulk of it is the Redevelopment Commission. So,
thank you.
but they're unified, aligned. It's actually gone reasonably well. Economic Development, USTF, RDC are all moving at the same pace, and they're on the same page, I would say. Anything else, Matt? Tony?
I think we're good.
No, both agreements will be identical.
Thank you, Grant.
Thanks, man.
Any other comments, questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Who was that? Mike Sprinkle, second?
Second.
Second by Matt. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?